What is up, Wretched Nation? Today we're back in the Audi. I gotta run and get some supplies. Just got off work. Gotta get some stuff for Wretched clothing. So very, very busy. And these videos a day have been whooping my ass. And not that filming them are tough. It's the editing and upload time. Because I live in the country. I don't have the best internet in the world. It's not bad, but uploading something takes a while. So I can, play games, stream movies, whatever, stuff like that. But uploading a video, that takes time. But we're gonna get it done. I'm working on it. Truthfully, if I can make it halfway through the month, I'd be happy. But if I can push it every day this month, that'd be amazing. But please like these videos, comment down below every day if you're watching. I appreciate it. And if you're not subscribed, just go ahead and subscribe. Might not be great content, but we got a lot of content coming. Anyways, let's get to the title of the video. Things I hate about this car. And I know hate is a strong word, but there are things about this Audi that just kind of suck. And let's get into some of those things. First and foremost is how tight everything is when working on it. The engine on this thing could not be crammed into that compartment any closer. I mean, you've got firewall, fenders, and bumper on every aspect of this motor. You can barely get anything in there. That's insane. They could have made this car just a little bigger and probably put an inch on every aspect of the car on the front, and it would be fine. I do believe the A6s that have this motor in it, they are bigger. It does appear that you have more room in the front. I don't know about all around the motor, but at least in the front it does look like, I've not seen one up close in person, but through pictures and just understanding, I think they're a little bigger. But working on this thing up front, man, now I understand why you have to pay so much to get service, because for a lot of things you got to drop the engine out, or you got to move a bunch of stuff that's in the way. Which leads me to my next point. The cost of ownership on this car is crazy. And don't get me wrong, the car makes good power, and it's got a good engine and a good transmission as far as performance goes. I got the automatic, which is dual clutch. It's not a regular automatic, it's a DSG, it's a dual clutch transmission. And those cost more money in maintenance. You have services that really need to be done every 40,000 miles, maybe even sooner than that. I need to get mine done. I haven't driven my car nearly that much, but I don't know when the last one was done. This car seems to be very well taken care of. I'm not sure. But a transmission service can be upwards to $700. And that's really just a fluid change and filters. But the way you do it is you got to have a computer and all this stuff. But so service can cost a little bit of money. Now you can do a lot of it yourself, but the parts cost a lot of money too, and they shouldn't have to on some things. And that's where we're going to get into the Audi tax. Audi tax is real. German car, I'm sure the German cars are like this. I'm sure, BMW's like this. I'm sure Mercedes is like this. You might want a simple part, but you got to pay 3 times what you would normally pay. And I know some things, to get quality parts, you got to pay money. But in the Audi world, it's not always you get what you pay for. Because sometimes you can pay a lot of money and you get an inferior product. And I've seen this when you look at companies that make really good stuff but aren't 100% German cars. and then they make something for the Audi, they tend to be a lot cheaper because they're not charging you because it's a German car. They're charging you just what it costs them to make, and you know, whatever profit they need to make on that item. The biggest thing you can see in this genre with the S4 is the heat exchanger. There's a lot of companies out there making heat exchangers from $1,000 to $1,500. And if you're not familiar, a heat exchanger is basically like an intercooler, what you would see up front as an intercooler for a turbocharger car. Even though it's not an intercooler, because they typically still have intercoolers, but it's like a radiator for your supercharger. But you can get a really good one for like $500 from a specific company. And I'm not here to bash, but you can get a really good one for $500, and you can go with a really well-known company and spend $1,000 to $1,500. And a lot of the reports, now I have not had these two, so I can't really judge, but a lot of the reports saying it's an inferior product or it does just as good. So the Audi tax is real. There's a lot of parts that can just be outrageously expensive for no reason. Now some things are expensive, like the transmission. This gets into more, you see a lot of these dual clutches in more supercars than you do regular cars, so it's a little pricey. But probably the Audi tax is the one thing I hate the most. The next thing that I kind of hate on these cars is a little bit of the styling. While I do think they look good, and there's a specific reason why I think they look good, I don't want to get into that too much because I'll be doing another video of why I love this car. But the styling on these cars, and a lot of German cars, they don't change much. They get a specific style and that's it. And that can be a little boring. For your money, you usually don't get that super aggressive styling or really big updates in these cars. They're kind of understated, and then if that's what you're looking for, that's fine, because it's more of a preference thing. But I don't know, if this car was, I think, just shy of 50 grand brand new. That's the MSRP on it. I didn't pay that, but that's rough, considering what you could buy for 50 grand. I know this was back in 2011, so your options were a little more limited, but you know, that's kind of rough. But the styling is a little understated. It's a little lackluster for what you're paying for. Quality is there, but just styling could be helped out a little bit, you know. Another thing I hate about these cars, and you can love or hate this, and it will probably be on both videos, but if you buy this car brand new, you are screwing yourself every mile you put on it, because the value of these cars are just not there. When you can buy this car, and in 5 years later you can buy it for half of what you paid, that's rough. Now if you got money, cool, so be it. But as far as buying this car new, you have to have money to buy one of these cars. And it's not even because of what it costs. It's because when you get ready to get rid of it, it's worthless compared to what you paid. That works out great for other people, but as far as residual value, there's none there. Now, one of the last things I hate about this car, and it's not a lot that I hate, and it's kind of broad things, and it's a little bit more of it just being a German car, but the quirkiness of things that they do. It's kind of just weird on some of the things they do. I'm not the biggest fan of Torx bits and Allens and a lot of your hardware, because they're so easy to strip out. And yes, I have to deal with that a lot on my Harley Davidson. I don't have to deal with it stripping out as much on that because you can get to those bolts a lot easier. But on a car like this that's super cramped and your leverage isn't perfect, or you don't have like a firm pressure on your bolt you're trying to take out, you can strip the head of that out really easy, and that's annoying. I've never been a fan of those type of fasteners in cars. I typically prefer, you know, obviously the easiest thing to work on is a Japanese car, but this can be annoying to work on with some of the things that they have going. And just like this car, it's a 2011, it didn't come with an auxiliary port, it didn't come with any type of media access like that. What you have to do, while I do have an auxiliary cord, what you have to do is you have to buy an Audi specific cord, and it's an MMI. You have to buy an interface that's specific for this car, and it's in the glove box. For a 2011, you get no Bluetooth, no auxiliary, and I don't think it's available in these models, so I don't think, like, if you get a different model or a different trim package, you can get that. But for 2011, that's not offered, and it's kind of weak, to be honest. But you know, I've kind of always said you don't buy a German car for luxury. You buy it to make it look like you have luxury. That being said, I mean, I do have it. I do like it, but I didn't buy it for those features. If you buy a car like this and you buy like a Japanese car or like especially a Korean car, you're going to get way more features in that car for way less than you are this. I never really understood that for the money. Never quite got that, but it's just these quirky things that you get with a German car and the things you have to deal with a German car. That's why I think a lot of people love them, because they're so specific and they get like a cult following, and they typically become a love it or hate it car. You know, I still prefer the car, I still like the car, but these are things that I do hate about it. So comment down below, let me know what you think. Do you have any experience with these cars? What do you think? Do they suck? Do you love them? Do you hate them? And wish me luck on this month-long series if we can make it. But please subscribe if you haven't. Like the video, it helps. And as always, keep it wretched.